All right, welcome to the third part of the lecture, and thank you so much for watching two parts. And this is the third part, part C. And in this, as I told you before, that in this part we are going to discuss adapting the three-step process for successful IM. So, although instant messaging or instant messages, that is called IM, often that are often conceived and that are often, we can say, written and sent within a matter of seconds. So the principles of the three-step process still apply, particularly when communicating with the customers and other important audiences. So the first point is planning instant messages. Except for simple exchanges, take a moment to plan IM conversations in much the same way you would plan an important oral conversation. So, a few seconds of planning can help you deliver information in a coherent, complete way that minimizes the number of individual messages required. If you look at the writing instant messages, it means that as with email, if you look at the example, as with email, the appropriate writing style for business IM is more formal than the style you may be customized or accustomed to with the personal IM or the text messaging. So your company might discourage the use of IM acronyms such as FWIW. It means that for what it worth, or HTH. It means that hope that helps, particularly for IM with the external audiences. If you look at the third scenario, that is completing instant messages, it means that the only task in the completing stage is to send your message. Just quickly scan it before sending to make sure you don't have any missing or misplacing words, and verify that your message is clear and complete. So to use IM effectively, keep in mind some important behavioral issues um, when relying on this medium. The potential for constant interruption. And these points are actually be courteous in your use of IM, and you have to, like, unless a meeting is scheduled, you are expected to be available for other reasons. And if you're not on a secure system, don't send confidential information using IM. Be extremely careful about what we can say, sending personal messages, and they have a tendency, while to pop up on other people's communication. And don't use IM actually for important but inappropriate meetings, or you can't verify that anyone considered will be available. So don't use IM for lengthy, complex messages. Email is better for those. If we look at the text messaging, while text messaging is quite easy, text messaging or texting is the act of composing and sending electronic messages, typically consisting of alphabetic and numerical characters between two or more users for phone, mobile phones, tablets, desktop, laptops, or other devices. So text messages might be sent over a cellular network, or might also be sent via the internet connection. Email. Email is widely used as a form of business communication, and overall it is a highly effective communication tool. Email is inexpensive, only requiring an internal communication or sorry internet connection that is generally or already present in the business. While making email, you have three points, and that is plain email messages, writing email messaging, and completing email messaging. While discussing all those thoroughly, let us first discuss email. As I told you before, that email is widely used as a form of business communication, so it is quite used as a form of business communication. So while this topic is about business communication, so we will discuss each and every tool in a very deep way. So let's talk about the email, how to make email. It means that planning email messages, writing email messages, and completing email messages. Okay, while solution for this planning email messages is the overload starts in the planning steps by making sure every message has a useful and business related purpose. Be aware that many companies now have formal email policies that specify how employees can use email, including restrictions against using company email services for personal messages, and sending confidential information or sending material that might be deemed objectionable. So, in addition to it, many employers now monitor email either automatically with the software programmed to look for sensitive content, or manual, where security staff actually reading selected email messages. So regardless of all those policies, though, every email user has a responsibility to avoid actions that could cause trouble, for downloading viruses, infected software, to sending inappropriate photographs. Even with a very short messages, spend a moment or two on a message planning task and analyze the situation, gather the necessary information for the reader and organization, and organize your message. So you will save time in the long run, because you will craft a more effective message on the first attempt. Your reader will get the information they need and would have to generate follow-up messages asking for clarification or additional information. So if we talk about starting email messages, so when you approach email writing on the job, recognize that business email is actually more formal medium than you probably look at the emails for personal communication. So the expectation of writing quality for business email are highly and higher than the personal email, and the consequences of bad writing or poor judgment can be much more serious. So for example, email messages and other electronic documents have the same legal weight as printed documents, and they are often used as evidence in the lawsuits and criminal investigations. So, in addition, many emails programs display the first few words or lines of upcoming messages even before the recipient opens them. So, in the words of social media public relations, you can see that. Think of the first sentence as extension of your subject line. This is the thing that quite be very much important while writing email messages. If we talk about completing email messages, so particularly for important messages, take a few moments to revise and proofread That might save you hours of headaches and damage control. Also, favor simplicity when it comes to producing your email messages. So a clean, easy, readable font in black on white background is sufficient for nearly all email messages. Take advantage of your email system's ability to include an email signature, a small file that automatically includes such items as your full name, title, company, and contact information, and as well as the end of your message. So when you are ready to describe or distribute your message, pause to verify what you are going to do before you click send. So make sure you are included everyone necessarily. And there are some of the things, while highly important, but we will discuss it totally, those things. Let's talk about the next slide, and that is vlogging, which is quite much important. Okay, while discussing blogging, after discussing blogging, I will give you the assignment, and that assignment will be done by the students. Okay, let's come to the blogging. A blog is a discussion or informational website published on the World Wide Web, consisting of a discrete, often informal diary style text entries. Post by entries we mean posts. So posts are typically displayed in reverse chronological order, so that the most recent posts appear first at the top of the web page. Okay, communicating with a personal style and an authentic voice, delivering new information quickly, choosing topics of peak interest to audience, encouraging audience to join conversation. These are actually the world benefits of vlogging. Whenever we are using vlogging, so we see some of the benefits, as I have already discussed those benefits with you guys. So no, just like I told you before that communicating with personal style and authentic voice. So most business messages actually designed for large audiences and that are carefully scripted or written. So corporate voice is actually concerned. So audiences relate to this fresh approach and often build closer emotional bond with the vlogger organization as a result. Mm, all right, delivering new information quickly. It means that vlogging tool let you post new material as soon as you create it to find it. So vlog that does not offer to the continuous stream of new and interesting contents are quickly ignored in today's online environment. Choosing topics for peak interest to audiences, it means that successful vlogs cover topics that readers care about. If you look at the last point, encouraging audience to join the conversation, that means that not all vlogs invite comments, although must do, and many vloggers consider comments to be an essential feature. So vlog comments can be valuable source of news, information, and insight. Yeah, so it's also helpful or appropriate. Many vloggers review all comments and post only the most helpful and interesting ones. Let's discuss uh, adapting the three-step process for successful vlogging, and after that I will give you assignment. Just listen to these audience purpose and scope. These are quite easy. You will get to understand very easily. There is no need of confusion. All right, the first point, that is Audience. Except with team blogs and other efforts that have an obvious and well defined audience. Defining the target audience for a vlog can be challenging. How? You want an audience large enough to justify the time you will be investing, but narrow enough that you can provide a clear focus for the blog. For instance, if you work for a firm that develops computer games, so it would so computer games would you focus your blog on hardcore players, so the types who spend thousands of dollars on super fast PCs optimized for video games, or would you broaden the reach to include all the video gamers? So the decision often comes down to business strategy. If you look at the purpose, so obviously a business vlog need to have a business related purpose that is important to your company and to your chosen audience. Moreover, the purpose has to have legs. That is, it needs to be something that can drive the vlog content for months or years, rather than focusing on a single event or an issue of only temporary interest. So, for instance, if you are a technical expert, you might create a vlog to give the audience tips and techniques for using your company's products more effectively. So a never ending subject that's important to both you and your audiences. And if you look, so this would be, generally the purpose. And what will be the purpose of your vlog? So each posting would have a specific purpose within the context of your general purpose. Yeah, so finally, if you are not writing an official company vlog but rather vlogging as an individual employee, make sure you understand your employees' vlogging guidelines. If we look at the scope, so in the scope actually we are defining the scope of your if you like you are defining the scope, so define the scope of your vlog. That can be a bit tricky. How you want to cover a subject area and that is broad enough to offer discussion possibilities for months and for years, but narrow enough to have an identifiable focus. So after you begin writing your blog carefully, the planning needs us to continue with each message. Unless you are posting to restricted access blog, such as the internal blog on a company intranet, now you can never be sure who might see your post. So completing we can say completing messages of your blog is usually quite easy. So evaluate the content and readability of your message, proofread the correct to correct any errors, and post using your blog systems tools. If you are using any contemporary blogging system, it should offer a new feed options. And finally, make your material easier to find by tagging it with the descriptive words. So these are all about adapting the three processes, and now micro vlogging and broadcasting. These would be microblogging, it's quite easy, and broadcasting, and these are the actually assignments I would rather give to the students to do it. So thank you so much for watching the last lecture, and your midterm course has been completed. Kindly do this assignment, microblogging and podcasting. These are the two assignments. This is one assignment, but the topics are the two: microblogging and broadcasting. Every student must do it and send it to me by abdul.hafiz3791 @gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay blessed, stay at home, and stay safe. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.